So, welcome to the third week of our course, Buddhist Meditation, going further, going deeper. This week our theme will be the Metta Bhavana, the meditation practice called the Metta Bhavana, which we can translate as the development of loving kindness, and in general the theme of positive emotion, and how positive emotions are springboard for transforming our relations to ourselves and to the world. But first we'll start with a review of the first 2 weeks. In the first week we looked at the body and the importance of a warm, open, intimate relationship to our body as a foundation of any meditation practice, as well as to a happy, healthy human life. And for homework, what we were to do during the week in our everyday lives, doing the mindfulness of the body meditation, as well as one activity a day with full awareness, as well as looking at times where we could be aware of the body in everyday life, sitting on the bus, on the metro. And in the second week we looked at the breath, the breathing, how the breath connects us to our body, to our energies, physical and mental. Our mental energies can be considered our emotions and thoughts and images, as well as memories. In the most basic way, we can see how the breath can change our mood. We can take a deep breath and physically it can energize us when we're exercising. We can use the breath to relax our body, breathing into the muscles of a particular part of our body. And how the meditation practice, the mindfulness of breathing, can be used to integrate the different aspects of our psyche, our different selves. And we looked at doing the mindfulness of breathing meditation once a day, using the breath to change our mood, trying to do so every day, and noticing when the breath can give us energy, as well as the subject of integrating our different selves, and the value of committing ourselves as a way to integrate ourselves. So, a brief review of the first 2 weeks. So now we come to this week's theme, the meditation practice called the Metta Bhavana. Metta, of course, can be translated as friendliness, loving kindness, or simply love, as well as taking an active interest and well-wishing. And bhavana, of course, is development, so the development of metta. the development of loving kindness, or sometimes it's more fully translated as the development of universal loving kindness, meaning without excluding any individual whatsoever, or the development of unconditional loving kindness, meaning that we experience metta without it depending on what the other person's doing, whether they're doing something to please us or whether they're doing something that doesn't please us. Our attitude is stable and constant. The meaning of this practice also is that we can change. And that we can change on a deep level, not just a superficial change. What do we mean by that distinction between a deep change and a superficial change? Well, usually when I start talking about the metta, people often echo back about controlling our emotions, managing our emotions. We have deep-seated habits to do it. It's our way of coping with the world. But if you look at what we're really saying, if we're managing our emotions, we can see there's a split. The part of us that controls or tries to control ourselves, and the part of us which is being controlled. For deep change, we need the change to take place of the whole integrated being. If we really want strong positive energies and emotions, it's a whole being that leads to change. So that's what we're looking to do. In developing metta, how do we do this? Begins with the body. We're on familiar ground here. In meditation, we close our eyes. We reduce drastically our sensory input. That means we stop distracting ourselves from our inner experience. And we can become more aware of this hidden, this normally hidden dimension of our being. We can start by bringing our body to life with attention, by relaxing our body and releasing energies and emotions, discovering new sides of ourselves, integrating different parts of ourselves. Integrating can mean befriending, and in this way finding pleasure deeper, and importantly, wholeness. It's also quite normal to feel resistance. Why 6? We're brought up to think that certain emotions are bad. Anger, for example, maybe sexual arousal towards certain people. We're brought up like this and we develop strong habits, coping mechanisms, to control our emotions or control our unwanted emotions. And in relation to physical pain as well, to avoid pain. And this means we grow up with a tendency, often unconscious, to resist our experience or resist aspects of our experience. So the first step is to open up to these resisted aspects of our experience. Especially opening up during meditation, when we can become more aware of these different aspects of ourselves. Doing so can be a profound relief, but it also feels like a big risk, stepping into the unknown, chaos, turning life on its head. Scary. And maybe we're just worried about returning to an animal state. And maybe a little exciting too. So, the first question for you, I suggest writing these questions down, making a note of them. How does this approach sound to you? Scary or exciting? Or both? So, we've had a look, a general introduction to metta. And now we'll start with the practice, which of course consists of 5 stages. And the first stage, as I'm sure you're well aware, is the development of metta to yourself. And the question arises, how can we develop metta to ourselves? Sometimes people find this stage quite difficult, or at least unusual. We're not very used to it. Some people might think we're being selfish. But we can ask ourselves, do the selfish people that we know have a sense of strong self-metta? I would expect us to find that the selfish people we know don't have a strong sense of self-metta. Quite the opposite. Let me know, though, if you found things otherwise. And a question for the groups to write down. How does the idea of developing self-metta sound to you? How can we do it? Familiar ground already, I hope. We can start with having a warm, soft, intimate awareness of our body, being receptive to what comes up in the first stage of the practice, giving time for something to come up, be it positive or negative. For something positive, we can give ourselves time to notice to notice it. Sometimes positive things are easy to miss. We can stay with it, grow it with our attention. Such positive things as positive memories, happy memories, when we felt happy or deeply moved by something, or positive images, absorbing images, as well as appreciation, gratitude, and respect, and understanding. Negative things that come up can be surrounded by feelings of sadness or anger. We can simply surround them by awareness, spaciousness, light, matter and warmth, and understanding to a desire to understand them more deeply. Some things are better just to leave or not give attention to, just waiting for them to pass. We can use our intuition to know when attention can heal a wound and when it's simply best to withdraw or wait for something to pass. During the practice, we can be active as well. We can be active as well as receptive. We can develop positive intentions. And one familiar way of doing this is with words, repeating to ourselves, may I be happy, may I be well. I find it's an interesting question. What do we mean when we talk about something being positive? It's something we can say very easily, but what do we really mean? So a question for you to answer after the video, if you like. What is positive for you? And maybe more importantly, what is really, really positive? So during the practice, during the first stage, we can repeat the words, may I be happy, may I be well, and staying with them, dwelling on them, letting them influence us more deeply. And allowing specific examples to emerge, maybe. There are things we can do in our everyday lives that will help us develop self-metta. We can consciously withdraw attention from the negative. In the Pali Canon, the oldest sources of the teaching of the historical Buddha, this practice was called guarding the doors of the senses. Specific examples would be avoiding sources of aggression and violence, avoiding sources of ignorance, avoiding sources of craving. It can feel like quite a relief to do so. An act of self-metta. And in relation to others, how we speak, we can develop self-metta in our everyday lives by respecting ourselves, talking about ourselves with respect to others, not putting ourselves down, not focusing on our faults too much in a negative sort of way. It can be a practice to treat ourselves with self-respect, even if those around us, don't show it. It's an interesting area, respect. How do we maintain or develop our self-respect? People often like to be the richest, or the cleverest, the strongest, or the most beautiful, or sexiest, as a way of getting respect. How do we get respect? How do we try? And another question, how do we protect ourselves from the negative? Maybe aggression or shaming, or people just trying to get us to do what they want. Another question for the group, if you'd like to share. Share our successes or get support and sympathy for the difficult things. So yes, self-metta. During time of meditation, and self-metta is a practice in everyday life, in our relations with other people. There's one more thing I'd like to say when thinking about self-metta. Something important that's worth giving a little time to. Something that's an important dimension of our meditation practice more broadly. And that's the value of expressing our experience. Why is it valuable? Well, it's an aspect of our self-awareness, and an aspect that requires practice. And why is it important? Well, expressing our experience does need awareness, like remembering dreams needs awareness. But more than that, what happens when we do so Well, we make our experience an object. We talk about it, we give it words, we give it form. And then we can look at that object. And others can look at that object too. It's worth bearing in mind that most teachers can immediately see their students' work. An English teacher, for example, can hear their English students speaking English. But that isn't the case for meditation teachers. Meditation students simply sit and meditate. Unless the student expresses what's going on in their meditation, the teacher can't teach any more deeply. So as well as the value of just being more aware, making our awareness an object that we can look at, we can give meditation teachers the chance to look and teach more fully. It's worth asking as well how to express our experience. I'd like to give 2 examples. We can ask somebody, well, how was your meditation? They can answer, they often do, well, many thoughts came up. I had many thoughts. Full stop. We can go further and deeper into this. What was the subject matter of the thoughts? Linking it to integration. Who was thinking? Which aspect of which sub-personality? But also, what was the quality of the thinking? Was it a butterfly mind, going from here to there without much purpose? Was it directed thinking? Was it negative thoughts that just go round and round and round? Was it thinking that tried to resolve a problem? More generally, was it reactive thinking or creative? If it was just drifting, was it because you were tired or restless? And if you were thinking, was it maybe an expression of doubt? Doubt often plagues our meditation practice. Maybe we don't really think it's worth doing the practice just as it is. A question again for you. Do you feel resistance to meditation? And can you put your finger on why you resist meditation and how that resistance manifests? But the second example I want to look at a little more deeply. You can ask, how is your meditation? And people answer, good, sometimes bad. Sometimes they say excellent. But why was it good? Why was it bad? Why exactly was it excellent? Maybe you felt a lot of self-appreciation. Maybe you felt lonely. That's a good step in the right direction. If you felt self-appreciation or loneliness, how exactly did you experience it? Can you express it using sensory-specific language? Sensory-specific language. Where in the body did you feel it? What were the sensations? Did any images arise? So not only in meditation can we look much more deeply at our experience, we can express much more deeply our experience. The two go together, two parts of the same process. And awareness changes the nature of our experience. So now we'll come back to the stages of the practice, and I'll talk about the second, third, fourth, and fifth stage a little bit more quickly. We spent such a long time on the first stage because, in a way, the first, how we relate to ourselves, how we do the first stage, informs how we do every stage of the practice. We're expanding what we do in the first stage of the practice to everybody else. So we'll look at the other stages a bit more quickly. They should be familiar to you, but maybe there's some details that you missed the first time around. So we begin with the second stage, the good friend. We can choose someone at the start of the practice, or maybe it's worth noting that for the second, third, and fourth stage, it can be better to choose somebody before we start meditating for each of these stages, so we don't spend too much time thinking about it, changing our minds during the meditation. When we start with the second stage, it's advised to choose somebody of the same sex, about the same age, who's still alive, and to whom we don't have a sexual attraction to. So we're looking to dwell on simple feelings of friendship. Simple feelings of friendship being the source, the essence, the seed of metta. And we can do different things during the stage. Each stage can be divided into sub-stages, where we first just start by establishing an awareness of our good friend, a stable awareness, maybe using an image of their face or body, maybe their voice, a sense of their presence, or just repeating their name. We can just use what works well for us. And when we've brought them to mind, developing a positive intention. May they be happy, may they be well. and what's positive for them, what's really, really positive for them. And we can move on to trying, allowing ourselves to be receptive when we have a stable awareness of them with positive intentions. We can allow ourselves to be receptive to memories, feelings of gratitude, moving words or penetrating words that they've said, and other warm feelings. Keeping in touch with our body and our emotions, and allowing anything that's not positive to have its place too. Allowing painful experience to come up if it wants to. Surrounding it with warm awareness. And we can wish them that they feel the full benefits of being in touch with themselves, like we are trying to do for ourselves. And after the good friend, we can move on to the neutral person. Most people in the world are neutral to us. We can do the steps we already did, establishing an awareness of them, developing positive intentions, being receptive to what comes up. And further on, we can reflect that they are similar to us in essence. They want to experience pleasure and avoid pain like we do. What are the pleasures and pains of their lives? They have hopes and fears, just like we do. What are their hopes? What are their fears? We can put ourselves in their shoes and develop a sense of solidarity, an awareness, a greater awareness of them. And in the fourth stage, a difficult person, maybe an enemy, maybe somebody who's actively trying to harm us or beat us, or maybe just somebody we've argued with recently, or just somebody we don't like, we're not attracted to. It's advised that we don't pick the most difficult person in the world for us right away when we start the practice. And of course we can start like we start all the stages, with establishing an awareness of them, developing a positive intention, and being receptive to what comes up. Surrounding anything that's painful with awareness, with a warm awareness. And reflecting also that any person is bigger than the things that we find difficult about them. There's more to them than simply what we find difficult. How can we get in touch with this bigger dimension of them? We can reflect that they have friends as well as enemies. It's always useful to keep in touch with our body and emotions, not to lose touch at this particular point. Maybe letting our face go soft. A soft face may condition a softer heart. Another way of getting a bigger picture of another person is asking, well, they might be attractive to others, if not to us. How would they be attractive to others? If we'd argued with them, how do they see things differently to us? How, and even just how do they see things? Can we put into words how they would express their disagreement with us? And lastly, how would they be if they were really in touch with their body and emotions? If they really felt happy and satisfied? How would that change how they act? And moving on finally to the fifth and last stage, the development of metta to all living beings. We start with the first four people of the first four stages: ourselves, friend, neutral person, and enemy. And our intention is to develop equal metta to all of them. And then we simply expand outwards and keep expanding. There are different ways of doing this. We can expand out into the building where we are, the street, into the city, the country that we live in, and expand out into the whole world, including animals. It's not just metta for humanity. But there are other ways of doing this as well. We can imagine radiating light or love from the heart in all directions of space. If we're radiating light, what color is that light? Maybe we can just reflect on the different countries and continents in the world. Whether it's day or night, for the people living there. And we can use simple words and expressions. May they be happy, may all be happy, may everyone be happy, may everyone be well. Or we can just sit in a receptive frame of mind and wish metta to just anybody who appears. Just notice the different people coming up in our awareness during this fifth stage of the practice. Finding any of these ways to expand without limit. Expanding outwards, city, street, country, world, radiating love or light. Recollecting the different countries and continents. Using words or phrases, or just being receptive to whoever comes up. And a final thought on metta. If we change internally, it means we'll change how we relate externally to others, to the world, and how we relate to others will affect how they relate to us. A change causes a change. And not only do we become a happier person, a person with closer, deeper relations, the world becomes a happier place where our relations, the world's relations, are closer and deeper. So now we'll go on to a guided meditation where we can try out the ideas that we've heard about in situ. It won't be a very long practice. I won't try and do justice to all the ideas, but just to give you a flavour of what we've talked about. And I suggest that you can take the ideas that you want to work with and think about them, and maybe even draw up a plan for your practice before you start. If you do this, of course, please do share what you've done with us in the groups. It'll be interesting to hear how you can plan and develop these ideas in your practice. I usually sit on bolsters to meditate, but I'm sitting on a chair today. I'll just put a bolster, I'll just drop it behind me to, here it is, yeah. Just to help me keep a straight back during meditation, because posture, of course, being a very important first stage. So you can begin to meditate, and when you're ready, closing your eyes. And you can consider preparing yourself to meditate. The self-metta in itself, being aware, sitting upright, and very importantly, sitting comfortably. And feeling the contact of your body with the floor and chair or cushions. feeling the weight of your body on the floor, the ground, and giving your weight to the ground, the chair and cushions. Trusting the ground to take it. And now bringing your attention to your body as a whole, and to all the different sensations in your body. The different energies, emotions, thoughts, and images. And bringing your attention to your breath, each in-breath, each out-breath. And bringing your attention to your being as a whole, all the different aspects of what you experience. And setting up a positive intention. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be deeply satisfied. What do I need to be deeply satisfied? And being receptive to memories arising, beautiful moments, with touching and penetrating words, being receptive to anything and everything. that comes up. We're moving now to our good friend, establishing an awareness of them. Face, voice, presence, or name. And wishing them well. May they be happy. May they be well. And being receptive to positive memories of good times you've had together. And being receptive to anything that comes up. And how would they feel if they were fully in touch with their body, with themselves? And moving on to the neutral person, establishing an awareness of them. And wishing them well. Giving a time for memories with this person too. And being receptive to whatever comes up. And thinking about their friends. What would they value? Putting yourself in their shoes. Developing a sense of solidarity with them. Now, a difficult person. Establishing an awareness of them now. Wishing them well. Did you have any positive memories? Difficult people often have a mix of good and bad in our relations with them. And simply being aware, being receptive to what comes up. Surrounding anything painful with awareness and warmth and understanding, trying to understand. Trying to get a bigger picture of this person, seeing them as more than just what is difficult. How would they feel if they were really happy? What do their friends value about them? How would they talk if they gave their side of the argument? Now, the fifth stage, the last stage, bringing to mind the people from each of the first four stages with an intention to develop metta equally to all. And expanding our metta outwards, the streets, town, country, world, as light or love radiating in all directions from our heart. Bringing to mind all the different places in the world, the countries and continents. Or simply words, may they be happy, may we all be well. Or just being receptive to who comes up in your awareness, and being metaphorically aware of them. And now, bringing your awareness back to your body. Bringing it into the room and the sounds that you can hear. And when you're ready, slowly and gently opening your eyes to finish the practice. So just a tip, if during the meditation you thought, yes, I really want to follow that up, and then I said something, we moved on. Do remember what it was that you wanted to follow up, make a note of it, and you can give it more time when you meditate at home. Well, we're nearly at the end now. How to practice metta in your everyday life in the week ahead before the next video. That's our last theme. I suggest doing the Metta Bhavana meditation practice once a day. And do let us know how you're getting on with it. And then also finding 4 days and dedicating each day to one of the people in the practice. Having, to begin with, a self-metta day. Setting up a particular intention to give attention to positive thoughts and giving attention to what positive things other people say to you. Maybe even writing down everything positive that other people have said. And a day withdrawing energy from the negative, from sources of negativity. It's always a good basis for self-metta to keep us physically in good shape, making sure we get enough sleep, enough food, enough warmth, physical exercise. And looking at self-respect, not speaking in a way that reduces our self-respect to others, and maintaining a sense of self-respect even if others don't show it towards us. So some ideas for a day dedicated to self-metta. And a day dedicated to our friend. Have the intention to keep them in mind on this day. Put a photo of them on our phone, maybe. Maybe if we've lost touch with somebody, contact them. We can contact them out of the blue and express a bit of gratitude. Or with somebody that we're in touch with, we can make a point of expressing one positive quality about them that we appreciate, and give them a random gift. And the next day could be devoted to neutral people. One approach to this is trying random acts of kindness, holding the door for somebody at work when you go in or go out, finding other ways just to do something kind for somebody. Or maybe just a day of giving attention, more attention to detail to all the people that we usually ignore or aren't interested in. And a difficult person day. Maybe it would be the chance to get back in contact with somebody who you fell out with. Maybe apologizing for what we did that we're not proud of, even though they might have done things as well. Or maybe just doing something to help somebody who we find difficult, who we normally wouldn't help or wouldn't think of helping. So, ideas for 4 days. You won't have to, it's not quite a week, but you could write in your diary, well, Monday will be my self-metta day, Tuesday friend day, Wednesday neutral, and Thursday enemy. Or maybe you can make it a bit more spacious. Monday, self-metta day and Tuesday off, Wednesday the friend, Thursday off, Friday the neutral person, Saturday off, and Sunday the difficult person. Anyway, that's some ideas for practice in meditation and in our everyday lives.